What are you capable of? I made a post on Instagram talking about unreasonable standards. And I feel like I'm going to turn it into a little bit of a conversation with you. And you can please comment below and tell me what you think you're capable of and what you're not capable of. So this kind of relates to my video where I was talking about Navy SEALs and the stupid New York Times article and some of the things I read on Reddit. I don't really use Reddit, but if you use Google search and say Navy SEALs New York Times article, one of the first things that pops up is a bunch of comments on Reddit. And I mentioned in the other video about how there was a study where they told people that they were going to give them performance-enhancing drugs, and they gave them a placebo and their performance improved simply because they believed they were on something. And so we're going to get into something that sounds very esoteric. I think it's silly usually, is the power of belief, right? If you believe, you can achieve. And I assure you that that's bullshit in a lot of cases. Look at my life. I was 100% certain that I was going to go to the NHL. Not a doubt in my mind. If you believe it, you'll achieve it. Well, no, not really. You know, The Secret, if you just believe, it will happen. That doesn't pan out that way, unfortunately. I was absolutely 100% certain that I was destined for the NHL, and that did not happen. Okay? I was 100% certain, and believe me, I was 100% certain, or else I wouldn't have done it. I wouldn't have signed the line. That I was definitely going to become a Navy SEAL. I am definitely going to succeed at this. In fact, I remember the recruiter. I'll tell you a little story, and this is going to illustrate this very well. The recruiter said to me, when I walked in and told him I wanted to become a Navy SEAL, he was like, "Are you sure about that?" I was like, "Yes." And he was like, "You do realize that like maybe 1 out of every 1,000 applicants actually makes it to becoming a Navy SEAL?" He's like, "What you see on TV, those guys at Buds," he's like, "they already made it through the first several cuts." He's like, "For every guy that walks into my office and says, I want to be a Navy SEAL, 1 out of 1,000 becomes a Navy SEAL." And I looked at them and I laughed. There was 3 recruiters in the room. And I was like, why would that stop me? And the guy's like, 1 out of 1,000. Are you sure you don't want to pick a different job? And I was like, I am the 1 out of 1,000. Like, why would I even be worried about this? That sounds really cocky, but the thing is, I knew my PST scores before I even walked into a recruiter's office, so I already knew I passed the PST easily. Obviously, I believed that I was going to make it. So, what are you capable of? And I talked about this idea of setting unreasonable standards, right? Because a lot of people don't believe they can do things. So I read these comments on Reddit and people are like, it would be impossible for someone to do 20 pull-ups without performance-enhancing drugs. It would be impossible for someone to run a sub 6-minute mile without steroids. And it's like, wow, dude, you set the bar really, really low. Okay? Now, you may set the bar and fail. I talked about this in my Instagram post, and if you don't follow me on Instagram, you're going to get to hear about it here. At one point in my life, after my hockey career was over, I decided I want to run a 4-minute mile. I want to run a sub 4-minute mile. And so I started that process in 2002. And in 2005, I ran my best mile. I weighed 110 pounds. And I ran a 4:06. I did not make my goal, did I? I decided I wanted to run a sub 4, and I didn't get there. Now, that 4:06 was my best mile, by the way. I continued trying. That 4:06 wasn't like, I tried this once and gave up. I tried it repeatedly. I got a lot of 4:11s, 4:10s, 4:12s, 4:16s, etc. 4:06 was the best I ever did, and I tried repeatedly to break that 4-minute mark. Didn't get there. I set a goal for myself in, I guess it was 2008, that I wanted to do 50 pull-ups. Little ambitious, just a tad. How many think I got? 36. I got 36. That's full dead hang pull-ups, by the way. It's not like there's a video of me somewhere doing like 42 kipping pull-ups, but that was that wasn't even 42 fresh. Was coming off of a 400-meter run, hopped up on the pull-up bar and did 42 pull-ups in one set, kipping pull-ups. Yes, I used to do CrossFit. Shoot me. No, I love CrossFit, so I don't care. I'll defend it. In any case, the point being, setting a goal of doing 50 dead hang pull-ups, I got 36, so I didn't make it to 50. Does this matter? 36 is still a lot more than a lot of people can do. 36 isn't a bad number. Neither is running a 406 mile. It's not a bad mile. You may set goals for yourself that you don't actually ever hit. But damn, you come really close. Like if you shoot for a 1,000-pound squat, you might end up squatting 800. But if you shoot for a 405 squat, like maybe you'll make 405. That's the problem with setting goals. A lot of times people set goals and they actually achieve them, unfortunately. And they were capable of more. So if you said to me, my goal is to run a 6-minute mile, and that's what you aim for, and you actually hit it, what if you were capable of more? Right? Now, that's nothing wrong with you actually hitting your goal. I'm not trying to be negative when I say that. But what I am trying to share with you is setting unreasonable goals, setting unreasonable standards, shooting for something a little more than what you think you can bite, bite off more than you can chew kind of thing. Shoot for just a little more than you think you can. And you may surprise yourself. What are you capable of? So I talked about these standards, and I'll talk about some of the things I've done and things that I did that I didn't think I could do even. So let's go with like a strict overhead press. At a body weight of 155, I decided I want to be able to press, at least 1.5 times my body weight. So I just made that a goal. In fact, actually, I decided to make it 1.6 because I found out that Robert Fine had done a clean and press with 1.6 times his body weight. So I initially started off with a goal of 1.5, and then I decided to up it to 1.6 because somebody else pressed 1.6. So the clean and press, this is like the Munich Olympics or something like that, he was able to clean and press 1.6 times his body weight. And I was like, I'm going to do, I didn't clean and press, but I pressed, right? And the press is a weird lift. I can't explain this to you. But I was able to press 225 pounds for 3. But yet 235 wouldn't come off my shoulder. Yeah, 225 for 3, but I couldn't get 235 for 1. Can't explain that to you. Whatever. And I didn't have 2.5 pound plates, otherwise I would have tried 230. Regardless, that's what I ended up with. I got 225 for a set of 3. Okay, not bad. It's more than I thought I could do, actually. It was significantly more than I was capable of before I started down that path. I set a goal for myself that I wanted to squat 2.5 times body weight, front squat. And I ended up squatting over double body weight, but nowhere near 2.5, right? Again, I didn't achieve the goal I set, but I did way more than I was doing previously. Whatever you set as a goal, you're going to surprise yourself if you set the goal just a little too high. Don't set the bar low. You'll trip over it. I want to run an 8-minute mile. Well, shit. You'll get there. Everyone will get there. Shoot for something a little too fast. Shoot for something a little too heavy. And I encourage you to set unreasonable goals. And if people are telling you that your goal is unreasonable, that means that you set it properly. That's my opinion on these things. I know that's not going to be popular. Some goal-setting expert, some goal-setting psychologist is going to tell you that's a bad way of setting goals. You have to set micro goals. That way you achieve them. And I think that that's lame. Nobody ever achieved something amazing by setting a micro goal that was easily attainable. Now, you can set micro goals of, I want to put 5 pounds on my squat. Right? So let's say that you're currently squatting 315 and you want a 405 squat. You're going to set micro goals and say, I want to put 5 pounds on my squat this month. I want to put 10 pounds on my squat this month. That's fine to have those micro goals, but you haven't lost sight of the major long-term goal, which is the 405. You decide, I want to total 2,000 pounds. And currently you're benching 405. Well, you know that you need to get over 500. So, you set those micro goals of, okay, this training cycle I want to put 5 pounds on, and in this training cycle I want to put 10 pounds on, and in this training cycle I want to put another 5 pounds on, and whatever it is, you have those micro goals along the way. I'm not telling you don't set goals within a shorter period. In the next 4 weeks I want to put 5 pounds on my bench. Good. But you don't lose sight of that long-term goal of like, I want to bench 550. Because you're going to need to get there. You're going to need to get there. And that's basically what my message is here. What are you capable of? And I bet you're capable of a lot more than you think you are. And we're going to come back to this. I've shared this in multiple videos before. Before steroids were ever invented, because I know everyone thinks steroids are magical. And we're going to talk about that in just a moment too. Before steroids were ever invented, though, there were guys who were able to clean and jerk over double body weight. They were able to squat 3 times their body weight. They were able to deadlift as much as 4 times their body weight. I already told you about the guy who was able to do a clean and press. He overhead pressed 1.6 times his body weight. This is before steroids ever existed. So these are things that people did drug-free. Look up Arthur Saxon, Eugen Sandow, Louis Cyr, some of these guys, that bent press was something insane, like 270 pounds at a body weight of like 190. That's incredible. And these are things that people did before performance-enhancing drugs were available, okay? You've probably heard this saying, we're going to talk about performance-enhancing drugs now. You've probably heard this saying that people overestimate what they can do in the short term and underestimate what they can do in the long term, right? So you want to lose 50 pounds. And you say, I'm going to lose 50 pounds in a month. You've overestimated what's possible in a month. However, people underestimate what they're capable of doing long term. So, maybe you could lose 100 pounds in 5 years. Is that worth it to you? It might be. If you're 5'8" and 300 pounds, 5 years of losing weight at a steady pace is going to be sustainable. You're not trying to crash diet. And if you're working out and lifting weights, you'll probably gain a whole bunch of muscle in the meantime. That's not a bad goal. Saying I want to lose 100 pounds in the next 5 years is not a bad goal. That's 20 pounds of weight loss per year. That's very good. But people don't set goals like that. People set crazy goals like, I'm going to lose 50 pounds in a month. Okay, so similar to that, people massively overestimate what drugs can do for them. People think, if I took whatever Mark Bell takes, I would be squatting 1,200 pounds as well. And yet people underestimate what they're able to do drug-free. So drug-free, you're capable of so much more than you're currently doing. I just told you there are people who squatted 3 times their body weight before drugs were ever invented. But yet, people think they're not capable of that. You're definitely capable of that. The idea that Broderick Chavez says, you can't bench 405 without steroids, that's bullshit. That is absolute fucking bullshit. There are plenty of people who bench 405 without using steroids. Okay? Mark and Chris Bell both were benching over 400 pounds before they ever touched anything. So there's 2 examples right there. And I don't think they have any reason to lie, because both of them talk about how, and then I started taking things later. Well, I believe you. I don't have a reason to doubt you. And like I said before, I don't judge people for whether or not they take things. I judge people for whether or not they lie. So if Mark Bell was like, I did it drug-free, then that would make him a shitty person. If he says, this is what I did before drugs and this is what I did after drugs, I don't judge you for it. You're being honest. I respect you for being honest. The point being here, people underestimate what they're able to do drug-free and overestimate what they would be able to do on drugs. Trust me, if it was that simple, everyone would be a fucking pro athlete. Like, if it was that simple, just take drugs and you will be a pro athlete. you look around and every single gym would have a pro athlete in it. There is probably some guy at your local gym who's taken something and he doesn't look like a pro athlete, nor does he perform like a pro athlete, and he's certainly not making the salary that pro athletes make. Gosh, wouldn't it be nice if it was that simple? You know, wouldn't we all just love it? All you gotta do is take some drugs and you can make $100 million. So, that's not how it works. People massively underestimate what they're capable of drug-free. You are capable of so much. And I wish people would hone in on that. Like, that's my message to the world. If Chad has a message to the world, well, number one message is, this is my goal in life. We need to have a barbell in every home. I know, everybody has a goddamn treadmill. Oh, every house you walk into, they got a treadmill or a stationary bike or something like that. We need to get rid of that. Stop buying treadmills and stationary bikes, spin bikes, etc. You can have those things. I have one. But you need to have a barbell first. Resistance training. Like osteoporosis is a big problem. Sarcopenia is a big problem. Please, put a barbell in every home. Before you buy a treadmill, buy a barbell. Or at least some dumbbells. Okay? That's my message to the world. Buy a barbell. Use your vehicle of salvation, my brothers. Go buy a barbell. My second message to the world, though, is that you are capable of so much more than you think you are. And I encourage you to set unreasonable goals and then go achieve those unreasonable goals. Believe me, I had people tell me it's physically impossible to front squat double body weight without steroids. And then I did it. And I was like, oh, I guess it is possible. Like, obviously it's possible. I had people tell me it would be physically impossible to deadlift 3 times body weight. And I did it. Although then Paul Carter laid into me, and apparently a 3 times body weight deadlift is a novice level deadlift if you're powerlifting. But I'm not a power lifter, so I think a 3 times body weight deadlift is good. But Paul really was quite angry. I don't know why he was so angry. This was on Facebook. He was furious that I thought that a 3 times body weight deadlift was a good metric. He said it's novice level, and that everyone deadlifts at least 3 times their body weight. So I don't follow powerlifting, so I really don't care. I'm not a power lifter. Point I'm making, though, is that maybe someone else will judge your goal and say it's too small. Fuck them. Pick your goal, commit to it, and go chase it, you know? So I was quite happy with the 3 times body weight deadlift. Many people told me that was physically impossible without steroids, and yet I did it. And then other people told me that's a novice level for people, but whatever. Your goal has never been good enough for anyone. Whatever you do, someone's going to tell you it's shit, and someone else is going to tell you it's impossible. So figure that one out. But the bottom line here is that I am encouraging you. In fact, I support you. I'm cheering for you. You want to know the difference between me and everyone else? I'm genuinely rooting for you. Yeah. A lot of these people, they just want to sell you some fucking product or whatever. I don't care if you ever hire me to coach you. I don't care if you ever buy any of the products. I don't even have products to sell. But if I ever had a product to sell, I wouldn't care if you buy it. You know what I want? I want people to comment on my channel and be like, hey, dude, because I started listening to you, I squatted double body weight. You know, hey, dude, because I came across your channel, I started listening to you, I lost 20 pounds. Hey, dude, I got my blood pressure down. I got my blood glucose down. I improved my cholesterol, whatever it is. Because of listening to you, I accomplished something. That would mean more to me than if you buy some shit that I'm selling. I'm not even selling anything, but if I was, I would much rather have people tell me, hey man, I listened to your video and I quit drinking and I lost 20 pounds. Anyways, like I said, I'm rooting for you. Set goals, set unreasonable goals, and go do them. And when you do them, comment below and tell me what you did.